In this section, we're going to talk about styling our web page with CSS or cascading style sheets. And the way that they basically work is that we will define or we will target elements on our web page, and then we will define the styling for those elements, and they will cascade down. So for example, if we added styling to this UL, the LI would also receive that styling by default, and that's the way that CSS works. Now let's just jump in and get started. Now we're going to create a new file and we're going to call it style.css. Now it doesn't really matter what we call it, but it needs the .css extension like so. And in here we write CSS. Now CSS looks different to HTML, but there are some concepts which we'll pull through. So the structure is like this. So first thing we do is we write a selector which targets an HTML element or a series of HTML elements on our page. We do two squiggly brackets, and inside of here, just like attributes, we are going to do property value pairs like so. So these could be different properties. So for example, one of them will say, hey, make the text red, and one of them will say, I don't know, make the font size this, and they will all be applied against this selector. So let's just go and write one of these. Let's target the H1 element, and you'll notice that I didn't put any brackets around it. When we're referring to the tag, we can just take this central part here. So H1, and inside of here, let's take the color and make it red. And let's refresh our page and see what happens. Well, nothing's happening. And that's because we've written CSS in this file, but we've not linked it to our HTML element. Now, the reason I showed you how to structure our web pages is because the link to our CSS file actually happens up here in the head. We use a tag called link. And there are two attributes that we need to provide. The first is saying which type, what type of link it is. This is a link to a style sheet. So rel equals style sheet. And we can space separate attributes. And the second one will be an href. And in here, we can just say the name of the file. So here, link, rel style sheet, href, style.css. If I go back over here and refresh, you'll notice that the color of the H1 is now red. So we've properly set this up. We've created a selector, and we've created a block for this selector, and we've added a declaration which has a property, color, and a value, red. Then we've properly linked it using the rel tag, which you'll note is another one that doesn't require closing.